The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Victoria Newman could be gearing up for a love life shakeup. Will Victoria reunite with a surprising ex after losing Cole Howard? Victoria has a habit of turning to former flames when it's time for another love interest. Perhaps Victoria will continue that pattern when Y&R's ready to move her into her next pairing. It could play out sooner than fans might think now that Cole's cough is raising suspicions about a fatal exit arc. Y&R could easily be laying the groundwork for Cole's tragedy and Victoria's crushing goodbye. If Cole is facing a potentially terminal diagnosis, Victoria might turn to Nate Hastings for help finding some sort of experimental treatment. Since Nate was able to make something happen for Amy Lewis, Victoria might hope he can make something happen for Cole too. Nate has plenty of medical connections he could put to good use. Victoria and Nate could bond as he tries to help her find. Nate and Victoria have a romantic history, so it's easy to imagine them growing quite close in the midst of all this. Of course, there's no guarantee Cole will survive the illness story that's presumably in store for him. Nate's efforts might fail, but he could still be there for Victoria as she faces this difficult loss. Victoria will need someone to lean on as she grieves if Cole truly ends up 6 feet under. Maybe it could be Nate who serves as a shoulder to cry on, partly because he feels guilty about not being able to help Cole, and partly because he's always going to care about Victoria. Nate and Audra Charles could be headed for a relationship blow-up due to the scheme she's carrying out for Victor Newman. Once Nate finds out Audra has been plotting to destroy Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman's romance, he's sure to lash out. Audra hasn't been totally honest about her past with Holden Novak either, so Nate may end up dumping her eventually. If that's the case, it could make it even easier to clear a path for Nate and Victoria's reunion. Regardless, Victoria may have to deal with some gloomy predictions about Cole's health, so that could push her back in Nate's direction soon. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless recap for Friday, April 25, reveals that Adam Newman will make a proposal on bended knee for Chelsea Lawson, while Diane Jenkins Abbott explains an attic discovery. At the Abbott mansion, Jack Abbott will finally move beyond the shock and admit he loves the house refresh. Since Diane preserved the integrity of the place while giving it some modern touches, Jack will be thrilled. Although Diane and Jack will hope the renovations might entice Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman to live there, Kyle will still seem more interested in getting a place of their own. Later, Jack will quiz Diane about the portrait above the fireplace, so she'll reveal that she found it in the attic. Based on the note attached, it was a gift from Dana Marjoran to John Abbott back in 1956. At Society, Holden Novak will eavesdrop on Lily Winter's tense conversation with Audra Charles. Lily will still seem concerned over Audra's secrets and the possibility that she'll hurt Nate Hastings. After Audra and Lily discuss Holden as well as Damian Kane, Holden will join them and face a grilling session. Lily and Audra will be eager to find out if Damian and Aristotle Dumas are involved in. Lily will also question why Holden's hanging around Genoa City instead of going back to his life in Los Angeles. After Holden steps away, Lily will think it's obvious Audra is the reason why and will pick up on the fact that her connection to Holden seems deeper than she claimed. On Friday's Y&R episode, Lily will assume Holden has dirt on Audra and will wonder how much of a problem it's going to be. At Society, Adam will have a question to ask Chelsea over a romantic lunch, so she'll start panicking over the possibility that this is a marriage proposal. However, Adam will have a different proposal in mind and will want Chelsea to come work with him at Newman Media. Chelsea will immediately start making uneasy predictions about how that would go, especially since she won't feel qualified. Even so, Adam will explain why Chelsea's the right person to partner up with, since she understands. Chelsea will bring up Adam's previous partnership with Sally Spectra at one point, but Adam will act like their dynamic would be different. Adam will feel in sync with Chelsea, and will ultimately get down on one knee to ask if she'll be his COO. The rest of the restaurant patrons will assume Adam is asking Chelsea to marry him, so Chelsea will get embarrassed and urge him to get back in his seat. In the end, Chelsea will need some time to mull over this offer, so Adam will promise not to push. Adam will jokingly get back down on one knee to propose ordering flatbread, so Chelsea will get embarrassed all over again. No matter what she decides, Chelsea will admit it means a lot that Adam asked her to work together. After Chelsea gives Adam a kiss, the other customers will applaud. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Summer Newman may say 5 words to sabotage Claire Newman. Let's talk about Summer's inevitable complaint, and how she might try to pump the brakes on the lovebirds' decision to live together. Summer clearly isn't a fan of Kyle and Claire's romance, so it makes sense for her to attempt to derail things. The closer Claire and Kyle get, the less likely it becomes that Summer can win her ex back. That's why Summer may want to do everything she can to slow down Kyle and Claire's romantic milestones. Claire and Kyle's relationship is moving right along, so Y&R spoilers suggest Summer might hope she can offer a speed bump. Summer is still trying to process her true feelings for Kyle, but it's obvious that she'd like a reunion with him. Watching Kyle and Claire fall in love has been infuriating for Summer, who's struggling with plenty of jealous rage. Summer knows her co-parenting link to Kyle is perhaps her best way to manipulate him. It's easy to imagine Summer using Harrison Abbott to her advantage, as she works to delay Kyle and Claire moving in a new apartment. That brings us to the 5 words Summer might say to sabotage the situation. It's too soon for Harrison. Summer may argue that Kyle and Claire need to hold off on this huge step, just to give Harrison more time to adjust to their blooming relationship. Of course, it's doubtful that would be enough to actually change Kyle's mind about living with Claire. Kyle might insist Harrison will be fine, and just ignore Summer's opinion in the end. Then again, Summer's suggestion could fail another way if Kyle and Claire simply find a workaround. This could lead to Claire moving in the Abbott mansion, after all, since Harrison would barely even notice the change if she did. Whatever the case, Summer may try to play saboteur when it comes to Kyle and Claire's living arrangements. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Summer will make some strategy updates along the way, so stay tuned for news on whether her own reunion predictions will ever come true. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal a preview clip has been released for the week of April 28, 2025. It shows Lauren Fenmore Baldwin giving Michael Baldwin a grim prediction. Billy Abbott drops a bomb on Phyllis Summers. Meanwhile, Maria Copeland is rattled. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up next week in the CBS soap opera. The weekly preview clip begins with Michael and Lauren. The two are having a hushed but heated debate. Michael has been given orders by Victor Newman in his war against Jack Abbott. However, Michael is also good friends with Diane Jenkins Abbott. As for Lauren, she considers Jack to be a dear friend. Lauren looks like she's ready to blow. Michael tells her that he tries to navigate the situation to get to. However, Lauren replies that he made the situation worse. Then, she informs Michael to just wait until Victor finds out. Lauren predicts that this is all going to bite her husband in the end. The Young and the Restless spoilers for next week reveal that Billy has a sit-down with Phyllis. Interestingly, they are in a restaurant and not in Billy's suite or someone private. In any case, Billy tells Phyllis that everyone has tried to get through to her, even Daniel Romalotti Jr. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. Now, Billy has no choice, he says. As Phyllis plays dumb and smiles goofily, She asks what Billy means. It sounds like Billy is about to give her the boot. Over at Society, Maria shows up to see Tessa. In the preview clip, Tessa tries to hug her wife, but she can tell something is off. Tessa slowly pulls away, but can tell that something is very wrong. As the camera finally shows the side of Maria's face, she is clearly fear-stricken. This isn't just bad news or something concerning. Maria looks downright panicked. Does this have something to do with area Porter Copeland? Or perhaps Maria finally finds out that Ian Ward isn't dead after all? Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of April 28, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what is coming up next. A barista. He then taunted her about being unemployed while he was happy at his Nepo baby job, and predicted her new cosmetics company could never take down Jabot. Audra reminded him that she knew the competition, i.e. dummy him, pretty darn well, and hinted that she has a secret. The obvious assumption is to think that Audra expects her secret partner, Victor, to help her bring down Kyle. But if Victor was capable of doing that, he'd have already done it. At this point, impotent Victor needs Audra more than Audra needs him. Audra could try reaching out to Diane. Kyle's mom has to pretend she doesn't mind giving up her co-CEO position to her whiny son by redecorating the Abbott mansion. That isn't close to being enough for a woman like Diane. If Audra convinces Diane to come work for her, between the two of them, they should know how to give both Abbott men a run for their money. But it might make the most sense for Audra to go straight to Jack. No one wants to bring down Victor more than he does, and if Audra can convince him she's got the inside track on that, she just might get him on her side. Audra will make Victor think she is targeting Jabot. Not only will this give her the big gun support she requires, but it might even make it easier for Audra to seduce Kyle away from Claire, thus meeting her terms for Victor too. And once Audra has Victor's money, Jack's support, and Kyle wrapped around her finger, she'll be unstoppable. The Young and the Restless spoilers, April 28, May 2, 2025. Next week on My and R, we will see Audra scheming with Sally and so much more. Victor gives Michael an ultimatum, Lally plays nice with Holden, and Jack gives Billy a vote of confidence. Billy and Phyllis' partnership takes an unexpected turn. Maria keeps a secret from Tessa, and Audra schemes with Sally. Nikki takes matters into her own hands to help Claire and Kyle. Victoria pushes Cole to make a tough decision, and Lauren receives unexpected news. Victor encourages Adam to play dirty, Chelsea makes a bold move, and Phyllis worries about Daniel. The Young and the Restless is an American television soap opera that airs on CBS every weekday as it focuses on the drama surrounding the Abbotts, the Newmans, and other families in Genoa City. These families are into serious business stories, but their personal relationships are just as intense. Did you enjoy The Young and the Restless Y and R spoilers for April 28, May 2? Check back next week for more fun Y and R spoilers. If you have comments, questions, or opinions you want to get out there, don't hesitate to reach out to us via email. Follow us on Bluesky, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Join our Y and R group for all the latest breaking news. Get Young and the Restless spoilers and recaps and interact with numerous Y and R fans across the globe. As The Young and the Restless enters the week of April 28 through May 2, 2025, Genoa City is bracing for emotional tremors across its most powerful families. Secrets, suspicion, and strategic moves are once again at the forefront of the Newman and Abbott households. Victor Newman remains the quintessential strategist, calculating, unrelenting, and loyal to his own form of logic. His protectiveness over his family continues to blur into control, especially when it comes to Claire. Viewing her as both an extension of himself and a potential liability, Victor initiates a subtle campaign to dismantle her budding relationship with Kyle Abbott. For Victor, Kyle represents unpredictability and distraction, qualities that have no place in his carefully curated vision for Claire's future. Claire, perceptive and increasingly suspicious, begins to peel back the layers of her grandfather's secrets. Conversations with Victoria and Nikki trigger a deeper unease about her origins. As she probes into her parentage and questions Jordan's role in her past, Victor remains evasive. But Claire is no longer content with vague answers. The tension climaxes when Claire confronts Victoria directly, asking for the truth about her birth, Cole's role, and Jordan's involvement. Victoria admits uncertainty but insists on Cole's love. Still, Claire is unsatisfied. Her questions extend to Kyle, whose reassurances are heartfelt but unable to override her growing doubts. Claire's need for answers is no longer a quiet curiosity, it's a mission, and Victor, for the first time in years, feels his grip slipping. Meanwhile, Chelsea finds herself on uncertain ground with Adam. His recent behavior, though their reconnection had seemed promising, inconsistencies in Adam's actions suggest something hidden. Chelsea notices the warning signs: cryptic phone calls, unfamiliar names, and unexplained meetings. Her fear isn't infidelity. It's that Adam may be orchestrating something dangerous, possibly under Victor's influence once again. At the Abbott estate, Diane Jenkins wrestles with emotional instability as Jack pulls away from their shared renovation plans. Though the estate's transformation is complete, Jack's reluctance to embrace it suggests deeper hesitation. Diane suspects the issue is less about design and more about trust. Her insecurities resurface. Was the project a mistake, or is Jack distancing himself for other reasons? Despite her fears, Diane reveals that the renovation uncovered a person. The moment is both profound and unsettling, hinting at buried truths that could reshape Jack's perspective. Elsewhere, Audra Charles negotiates a high-stakes deal with Victor. Sharp and poised, she challenges contractual terms with precision, signaling her refusal to be steamrolled by the Newmans. The meeting ends in mutual agreement, but not without Victor's subtle reminder: deals in Genoa City rarely go unnoticed. Audra's confidence, however, remains unshaken. She welcomes the attention. As the week concludes, Genoa City stands on shifting ground. Claire's investigation into her past threatens to unravel the Newman legacy. Diane prepares to disclose a long-held secret. Chelsea guards her heart while Adam's next move remains unknown. And in the quiet corners of legacy homes and corporate boardrooms, Victor is lying to people who trust him, sabotaging innocent people and trying to wreck relationships. It's just a lot of bad deeds. Don't you think it's about time that he pays? There's 5 ways Victor Newman may get slapped by karma for interfering in everybody's lives. He does it because he thinks he knows best. All right, we've got Victor trying to break up Claire Grace Newman's relationship with Kyle Abbott. He is trying really hard to ruin Jack Abbott's business, and he's targeting Billy Abbott too, and he's misleading Lily Winters, among many other misdeeds. It seems all that Victor does these days is just really bad things. He sits around plotting ways to torment other people. The first thing that may happen is Claire Newman may snap on Grandpa Victor once she finds out about the awful deal he just made with Audra Charles. As you know, her grandpa wants Claire to be disgusted with Kyle, but that may blow up in Victor's face. Soon, Claire may realize that Victor is the one she can't trust on Young and the Restless. Claire is really grateful that she finally has Victor and Nikki Newman in her life. She's thankful her parents and the whole Newman family forgave her. After growing up with psycho Jordan Howard, of course, Claire wants Victor's approval. And she's really glad that Victoria Newman and Nikki and the family embraced her after she plotted against them. But once Claire finds out how far Victor went to sabotage Kyle, she could hit her breaking point. Nikki already warned Victor that Claire could wind up resenting him. But as always, Victor thinks he knows what's best. Once the Audra plot is revealed on Young and the Restless, Claire may stop talking to Victor. She may even cut him out of her life, at least for a while, to teach him a lesson. After living with Jordan manipulating her all of her life, Claire won't tolerate her grandfather doing the same thing. So this Audra scheme may just be one step too far. It may push Claire to her limit, and she may never look at Victor the same way again on Young and the Restless. The second way that Victor might face karma is from Victoria and Nikki. His daughter may rant at Victor for pushing Claire away, and if her daughter takes a step back from the family, she'll be upset. Already, Victoria has been reminded of the ways that Victor undermined her over the years. So I believe that Victoria will take Claire's side on Young and the Restless. Not just because it's her daughter, but because Victoria has dealt with Victor's meddling for her entire life. Remember when he had Victoria arrested on her wedding day because he thought he knew better? Victor has no problems going to extremes. Again, he thinks that he's the one who should get to decide what happens in everybody's lives. So he did the same thing to Victoria that he's doing to Claire, and that might push Victoria too far. She may also turn her back on Victor and put him in timeout for a while. Plus, if Victor's antics mean Claire and Victoria step back from the grandparents, Nikki may have a few things to say. She may finally put her foot down and push back hard on her husband. The third way karma may come calling is that Jack, Kyle, or Diane Jenkins feed false information to Victor. They could use this double agent guy, Elliot, on Young and the Restless. And if that Jibot spy looks familiar, it's because he was a regular on both Raising Hope and My Name is Earl. He is a great little actor, so I hope to see more of him. Now, Kyle blackmailed Elliot into being their spy against Victor or some kind of supply thing they need. If he reports it back and Victor invests based on the bad info, that could be a big score for the Abbotts. Our Young and the Restless spoilers say that this week, Jack and Diane are cooking up plans to deal with Victor's sabotage. Ultimately, they could do something to cause Victor to lose millions of dollars in some sort of bad investment. Jack and Diane are pretty much at their limit with Victor and his endless vendettas. He's trying to destroy Jabot. He's going after Billy and his new company. Plus, Victor keeps targeting their son, Kyle. If Victor paying someone to spy on Jack causes him to fall for bad info and lose a pile of money, that would be karma. Meanwhile, Daniel pulled out of Abbott Communications and is flailing. His grief is still palpable, and he hopes learning guitar will help spice up his life. But for now, he has no purpose, no joy de vivre, and no other. Phyllis continues to worry about Daniel. One thing that she needs to do is stop forcing Abbott Communications on him. Daniel will work with her when he's ready. Will Michael and Billy listen? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, April 28, place Victor in the position of delivering bad news, and Jack in the position of delivering good news. Not really a surprise, is it? Michael has put his career, not to mention his life, on the line for Victor so many times. It's no wonder Victor gets furious when Michael doesn't do it in the exact way Victor expected. To punish him for such betrayal, Victor has been giving Michael task after task, as an opportunity to prove his love and loyalty to Victor, because Victor is a giver. Michael wouldn't want to have Victor's patronage unearned, would he? That's why Victor has one more ultimatum for the Legal Eagle, and he better make Victor happy, or else. Whenever anyone doesn't support Billy 100%, he throws a fit and throws them out of his life. Jack doesn't want to deal with yet another tantrum, so he has invested in his company and keeps telling him how great he is, which Billy needs a lot of because he's not king of the world yet, and Billy just doesn't understand why that's so. Holden didn't appreciate being given the third degree by Audra and Lily about Damien. So Lily is changing her tactics. She's going to play nice and see if that gets him to spill. Lily knows it, Holden knows it, Lily knows that Holden knows it, and Holden knows that Lily knows that Holden knows. So really, it's just two pretty people talking. There are worse things to watch. Diane's bold transformation of the Abbott estate leaves Jack in awe, but will her efforts be enough to win over the entire family? The Young and the Restless recap for April 25 sees Diane's bold move leave Jack speechless. Meanwhile, Chelsea is forced to make a life-altering decision, and Holden's secrets might be more dangerous than anyone realizes. At the Abbott estate, Diane's grand gesture left Jack speechless, and for once, it wasn't from dismay. The home transformation took his breath away, and as he wandered through the newly remodeled rooms, Diane anxiously waited for a verdict. Jack took his time, soaking in every lovingly curated detail. Kyle praised the place as beautiful, but Diane braced for criticism. But when Jack finally spoke, it was with full heart and teary eyes. "It's perfect," he said, telling her he loved both the house and her. Kyle popped the champagne, and Jack toasted to his wife for protecting the spirit of the Abbott family home. He admitted he was terrified to see it, scared it wouldn't feel like home anymore, but the moment he opened his eyes, he knew it was home. Diane, equally nervous, confessed she'd been just as scared. Tears welled up again when Diane revealed she filled the bookcases with Tracy's novels, paying tribute to family in every corner. The dining room dazzled Jack, too, and Kyle loved the new bar setup. While Diane doubted Ashley would approve, Jack had faith she'd eventually embrace the changes. Their hearts warmed further when Kyle, despite sticking to his plan to move out, promised to return for Sunday dinners. He called it home and thanked his mom for preserving it. Jack beamed with pride after hugs and pictures to send to Claire. Later, Diane encouraged Jack to be honest about anything he didn't like. He asked about a few design elements, including a portrait above the fireplace. Diane explained it was a long-lost gift from his mother to his father, cleaned and reframed after she found it in the attic. The sentiment hit Jack hard. He told Diane he could see her woven into every corner of the home. "Why did I ever doubt you?" he asked. Jack declared the house had needed more of her in it. She had more than earned her place in the Abbott legacy. Meanwhile, at Society, Adam asked Chelsea to meet for an important conversation, and she braced for a surprise proposal. He joked, teasing her until the moment turned weird, but instead of popping the question romantically, he dropped a business bombshell. He wanted her to become his COO. Chelsea was caught entirely off guard. She reminded him that media wasn't her area of expertise, but Adam was sure she had all the right instincts. He claimed he needed someone who could challenge him and support his vision. "Like you and Sally?" she quipped. He reassured her that this had nothing to do with his past and everything to do with a potential future with her. Though flattered, Chelsea hesitated. She didn't want to leave Summer in the lurch and questioned whether mixing business with romance. Adam, on one knee again, but this time just to lighten the mood, asked her to consider it seriously. Over flatbread pizza, Chelsea admitted the idea intrigued her. She just worried about the risks of working so closely. Adam insisted it would only strengthen what they already had. She promised to think it over and thanked him for asking. As they kissed, the restaurant erupted in applause. Elsewhere at the GCAC, Audra ran into Lily and awkwardly asked to join her table. They discussed Nate and Amy's situation, and Audra asked Lily about whether she was finally warming to Damien. As they talked, Holden walked in and managed to eavesdrop on their exchange. The conversation turned tense when Lily questioned Audra about using her connection to Holden to dig for dirt. Audra insisted she had no intention of hurting Nate, but Lily wasn't buying it. When Holden joined them, Lily grilled him about Damien and the company, but he played coy, claiming he didn't know much and kept his head down. The ladies pushed for answers, but Holden deflected. He wouldn't betray Damien's trust and insisted nothing shady was going on. Audra pushed him harder, asking what was keeping him in town. When he left to take a call, Lily laid it out. Holden was obviously sticking around because of Audra. Did he have something on her? Had something happened in LA that could still bite her? In a dramatic twist on The Young and the Restless, the Abbott family faces a seismic shift that could redefine their legacy. The long-standing assumption that Jack Abbott is the biological father of Kyle is challenged by DNA results that Diane Jenkins has concealed for years. This revelation marks a pivotal moment, one that tests the foundation of family loyalty, corporate power, and Diane Jenkins, having long carried the burden of deception, finally reaches a breaking point. The truth, Kyle is not Jack's biological son, has been a looming specter in her life, and she can no longer suppress it. Clutching the DNA test results, she makes the decision to confront Jack, risking the stability of their family and business for the sake of honesty. As Diane delivers her confession, she expects fury and devastation. Instead, she is met with an unexpected response. Jack, having silently suspected the truth for years, admits that he has known but chose to remain silent. His primary motivation: preserving the emotional connection he shares with Kyle and protecting him from a truth that could destabilize his identity and role in the family. Despite the shocking revelation, Jack reaffirms his commitment to Kyle. He articulates that Kyle remains his son in every way that matters, and Jack vows to continue treating him as such, both personally and professionally. This revelation, however, is not without its complications. Jack and Diane acknowledge that if the truth becomes public, particularly if it reaches adversaries like Victor Newman, it could severely jeopardize Kyle's leadership at Jabot, the Abbott family business. The stakes extend beyond personal relationships. They touch the very core of the Abbott legacy. With the knowledge now shared between them, Jack and Diane reach a critical decision. The secret must remain buried. Disclosure could unravel not only Kyle's career, but also the structural integrity of the Abbott dynasty. Jack is adamant that Kyle's position as CEO will not be compromised by a DNA test, and Diane supports his resolve. Their agreement signals a shift from confession to containment. Together, they construct a defensive front, determined to shield Kyle from the fallout and keep the family's reputation and corporate power intact. While Jack and Diane have solidified their pact, the risk of exposure remains imminent. Genoa City is a landscape where secrets rarely stay hidden, and Victor's strategic acumen poses a constant threat. The pair walks a precarious line, knowing that a single misstep could lead to irreversible consequences. As the Abbott family moves forward, the emotional toll of the secret weighs heavily. Yet for now, Jack and Diane stand united in their choice. Their resolve underscores a central theme in the ongoing saga. Family is not solely defined by blood, but by the choices people make to protect those they love. The question lingers: how long can they maintain the facade? And what will be the cost when the truth inevitably surfaces? For the Abbotts, the future hangs in a delicate balance, with Kyle's paternity threatening to reshape everything they've built. In this week's developments on The Young and the Restless, the ongoing power dynamics between the Abbott and Newman families escalate as Michael Baldwin initiates a covert offensive against Victor Newman. Operating under intense pressure and moral conflict, Michael embarks on a high-risk operation designed to challenge Victor's corporate stronghold, despite the formidable consequences such a move could invite. Michael's decision, made unilaterally and in secrecy, signals a major shift in the Abbott-Newman rivalry. Fully aware of the risks, Michael remains resolute, convinced that disrupting Victor's influence is a necessary step to safeguard the Abbott legacy and protect the interests of Jabot. However, this defiance places Michael directly in Victor's crosshairs, threatening not only his own safety but the stability of those closest to him. The strain is most evident in Michael's relationship with his wife, Lauren Fenmore. Known for her rational judgment, Lauren expresses escalating concern over Michael's increasingly reckless tactics. Her pleas are rooted in a deep understanding of Victor's unforgiving nature, warning Michael of the severe repercussions that await him should his plan be exposed. Despite this, Michael insists that his actions are justified, prioritizing strategic advantage over personal safety. As the conflict unfolds, Lauren's apprehension intensifies. Her voice of reason contrasts sharply with Michael's conviction, underscoring a significant internal rift. She foresees the fallout with clarity, issuing repeated warnings. Victor will retaliate swiftly and without mercy. Still, Michael continues to advance his agenda, believing he is acting for the greater good. Victor Newman, meanwhile, remains an imposing figure, unyielding, controlling, and quick to dismantle any perceived threat to his empire. His legacy as a business titan makes him particularly dangerous to cross, and he is unlikely to show leniency toward Michael's betrayal. Should Michael's gambit succeed, it could destabilize Victor's grip on the Genoa City business hierarchy. However, failure would mean personal and professional devastation. Simultaneously, another internal conflict is brewing at Abbott Communications. Phyllis Summers and Billy Abbott find themselves at odds over a contentious staffing decision, involving Daniel Romalotti Jr. Phyllis's insistence on bringing Daniel into the company without consensus triggers a serious dispute with Billy, who views the move as impulsive and potentially harmful to the business. Billy, representing a more calculated business philosophy, argues against the decision, citing Daniel's lack of interest and the broader implications for the company. Phyllis, driven by family loyalty and a belief in Daniel's capabilities, interprets Billy's resistance as a challenge to her authority. The disagreement escalates quickly, with both parties entrenched in their positions. Tensions culminate when Billy issues an ultimatum. Either Phyllis abandons her plan or their working relationship ends. The threat leaves Phyllis visibly shaken, caught between upholding her influence within the company and preserving a professional partnership already strained by conflicting priorities. Elsewhere, an emotionally charged subplot between Tessa and Mariah adds depth to the week's narrative. As Mariah confronts personal challenges, Tessa's support becomes a stabilizing force, offering viewers a more intimate, character-driven storyline amid the corporate battles. Overall, the week's episode underscores the recurring themes of power, loyalty, and ambition in Genoa City. Michael's pursuit of justice, Phyllis's fight for autonomy, and the relentless control of Victor Newman combine to create a volatile landscape where every decision carries significant consequences. As allegiances shift and strategies evolve, the question remains, who will emerge victorious in a city defined by high-stakes rivalries? As The Young and the Restless enters the week of April 28 through May 2, 2025, Genoa City is bracing for emotional tremors across its most powerful families. Secrets, suspicion, and strategic moves are once again at the forefront of the Newman and Abbott households. Victor Newman remains the quintessential strategist, calculating, unrelenting, and loyal to his own form of logic. His protectiveness over his family continues to blur into control, especially when it comes to Claire. Viewing her as both an extension of himself and a potential liability, Victor initiates a subtle campaign to dismantle her budding relationship with Kyle Abbott. For Victor, Kyle represents unpredictability and distraction, qualities that have no place in his carefully curated vision for Claire's future. Rather than confront Claire directly, Victor employs his typical method of indirect persuasion, thinly veiled warnings, loaded advice, and ominous silences. Claire, perceptive and increasingly suspicious, begins to peel back the layers of her grandfather's secrets. Conversations with Victoria and Nikki trigger a deeper unease about her origins. As she probes into her parentage and questions Jordan's role in her past, Victor remains evasive. But Claire is no longer content with vague answers. The tension climaxes when Claire confronts Victoria directly, asking for the truth about her birth, Cole's role, and Jordan's involvement. Victoria admits uncertainty but insists on Cole's love. Still, Claire is unsatisfied. Her questions extend to Kyle, whose reassurances are heartfelt but unable to override her growing doubts. Claire's need for answers is no longer a quiet curiosity, it's a mission, and Victor, for the first time in years, feels his grip slipping. Meanwhile, Chelsea finds herself on uncertain ground with Adam. His recent behavior, romantic gestures coupled with mysterious disappearances, has triggered old anxieties. Though their reconnection had seemed promising, inconsistencies in Adam's actions suggest something hidden. Chelsea notices the warning signs: cryptic phone calls, unfamiliar names, and unexplained meetings. Her fear isn't infidelity. It's that Adam may be orchestrating something dangerous, possibly under Victor's influence once again. At the Abbott estate, Diane Jenkins wrestles with emotional instability as Jack pulls away from their shared renovation plans. Though the estate's transformation is complete, Jack's reluctance to embrace it suggests deeper hesitation. Diane suspects the issue is less about design and more about trust. Her insecurities resurface. Was the project a mistake, or is Jack distancing himself for other reasons? Despite her fears, Diane reveals that the renovation uncovered a personal artifact, a letter from Jack's late father, John Abbott, hidden for years behind a bookshelf. The moment is both profound and unsettling, hinting at buried truths that could reshape Jack's perspective. Elsewhere, Audra Charles negotiates a high-stakes deal with Victor. Sharp and poised, she challenges contractual terms with precision, signaling her refusal to be steamrolled by the Newmans. The meeting ends in mutual agreement, but not without Victor's subtle reminder: deals in Genoa City rarely go unnoticed. Audra's confidence, however, remains unshaken. She welcomes the attention. As the week concludes, Genoa City stands on shifting ground. Claire's investigation into her past threatens to unravel the Newman legacy. Diane prepares to disclose a long-held secret. Chelsea guards her heart while Adam's next move remains unknown. And in the quiet corners of legacy homes and corporate boardrooms, new chapters wait to be written.